Well, I bet you guys thought this old fart fell off the face of the earth. That's been keeping me grounded. Just to let everybody know, January 28th is the day I go in for surgery. Don't have a time yet, but that's the date. So that'll be happening. It's just kind of rough, you know. You don't realize when you've got a part of your body that's arguing with you that it takes a good bit out of you when you get into doing something. So anyway, beyond that, and no pity, it is what it is. This is surgical procedure number 34. I'm used to it. It's all good. So, but has life stopped here in the interim since my last video? Nah. Zippo still does his thing. So we've got some pawn shop finds. We've got wish list fulfillment from Christmas. Got some awesome stuff. And some bits and pieces and parts and bobs for the legacy. Just different stuff. So let me walk you into it. But I'm going to start off with that. Anybody that owns a GMT 400 88 to 98 truck knows what that is if they ever open and close their doors. That's the spring that provides you with the bump stops as you open and close your door. This little spring fell out of the passenger door and I couldn't get the door open, or once I got the door open, then I couldn't close it until I retrieved that out of there. How it came off its perch, I have no idea, but no big deal. I've got a way of compressing those and putting some high tensile wire on them to hold them compressed and set them in place, and do one of these, clip the wire, and they spring back and go right back into place, usually. All right, had an interruption. So we just got done with the spring. I have a box to, or a bag to unload, but right there is a box that's going to purdy up the back of the Legacy, as well as provide a missing component. Now, no, they're not new old stock, but they're in better shape. I have one that's got a broken tab here, but what it was missing was this little pigtail with the light. So got a set of those thanks to Frog, good buddy Paul. He picked one up that he's parting out, so we've got that. Then Miss Zippo and I were taking care of cleaning out her garage and doing stuff like that, so came across some, I think these are 320. Came across a roll of DA sanding pads. What do we have? Yep, 320. Self-adhesive 3M. These things are gold. I mean, that roll, they're expensive. And then a roll of, similar to this, just a roll of abrasive paper. Or I guess we can call that one an oval of it. But this is 320, so that'll help with polishing and whatnot when I'm doing stuff on the mill. What else we got here? We have a masonry hammer, but it's my favorite brand, S-Wing, so pick that up. Thanks again, Miss Zippo. Love you to pieces. Not just because you give me tools you can't use or don't use. Not can't, but don't. Alright, and what else we got? A remote start. Just connect that to your starter solenoid, and there's your start button. I have one just like that I picked up at the tractor show. What else we got here? Getting all the used stuff. I got a spring. This is a special spring. This spring, you feed pipe through there, and it allows you to bend the pipe without collapsing the pipe. Gold. Absolute gold. Give me just a second. Let me pull something out here. I'm gonna find it. Boy, this toolbox is just jam-packed. Okay. Most of the time when I'm bending brake line or copper line for a small engine, gas tank, fuel line or something, I'm using one of these guys. And it works. They're okay. But in my travels, I found rigid tube bender. You can see diameter is what looks like it's about, where's that tape measure that's usually always hanging here? I'm gonna guess 3/8. Let's see what we have here. Tape measure gonna be upside down because I write with the wrong hand. And yeah, that's 3/8. That's a 3/8. But not just one, but two. And this one I'm guessing is a 1/4 inch or 3/16. 1/4 inch. So just golden, which is continuing to fill my toolbox. Everything's got to get switched around in here. It's about to drive me bonkers. So we've got those, as well as the 1/2 inch. So we've got 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2. Not too shabby. And if you guys have priced out these rigid tubing benders, free is always better than having to pay for them, right? All right, what else do we have? We have automotive fog light bulbs, but we're not going to be using them for an automobile. They go for Ms. Zippo's Cub Cadet, so that she has two nice, bright, new headlights in it, and won't have to worry about them going out for any length of time. All right. Now let me just get get my multimeter out of there because I don't need that. It's not part of it. Before we get to the Christmas stuff, let's get this out. This is my Whistler Jump and Go. I don't know why it's pointing. It's still looking at me. There we go. This is my Jump and Go power supply. Well, I was using it to rescue Mama Sue, and the plastic decided to let go, so it went kaput. So I remedied that situation right there. I got rid of the plastic altogether, and we are going with metal clamps. Those are not going to fail. And I did a solder splice and then heat shrink tube, and I also lengthened them a little bit, that way I can keep that battery box out of the way. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more cramped inside the package, but it'll all be good. No worries. Okay, now the goodie bag. Well, I'm sorry, not the goodie bag yet. Let's do this. See this? Miss Zippo's got some of these C3 tools at her house, a circular saw and a drill. This is a 19.2 volt, but it's the heavy duty. And you can notice if we push this, we get nothing. So I got on Amazon and picked up a couple of them for cheap. Now, no, they don't look the same as far as, they don't have Die Hard or Craftsman C3 emblazoned all over them. But they've got good reviews. If I remember, which I'll try to, I'll put a link in the description where I got them in case you guys have any of these. But they've got good reviews. You guys can see the model number there. But this is a 5 amp hour battery. Okay, and it's got the battery selector indicator on there, or the battery condition indicator on there. Now this is one of mine that I've had, and you push the button, it gives you either green, yellow, or red, and goes on there. That's just a 2 amp hour. So with it being just a 2 amp hour, you know, you're going to have limited use on it before it gives up. And this 1/2 inch impact has come in really, really handy doing roadside assistance and stuff like that. So that one is going to do a lot better. So it was a 2-pack, and I don't remember what it cost, but like I say, I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. I do not have an Amazon affiliates page. I do have a wish list though, if you guys want to go over there and look at that. There's only a couple things on it, so no big deal there. And I did attempt to bring this battery back to life. It started out with 1.7 volts. Well, each one of the 18650 batteries in there is supposed to put out 3.7 volts. So I didn't have high hopes. I got it. What I did was just put jumpers between a good battery and this one and left them sit overnight, roughly 18 hours or so, and then pulled them off and rechecked this. Didn't change, still 1.7 volts. So that wrote that one off as being dead. So we got that. I think now we're ready for the rest of the goodies. And I forgot to bring the hat out, but I have a beanie hat that has LED lights on it, so I can flip it on and see what I'm doing. And I thought this was kind of cool. This was just in grab bag down at Mama Sue's. Not a grab bag, but just a little gift bag, along with these Craftsman gloves, which are pretty much, you know, the same as everything else I wear, except they're red. So I got the Craftsman gloves, and then I got this little guy, really lightweight. And it wraps around your wrist or your forearm. So what's its purpose? Well, as you're taking things apart, a lot of times the parts tray isn't readily available. Well, no worries. You just throw all your stuff on there, including whatever socket you're using, and the neodymium, or however you want to pronounce it, magnets underneath there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 magnets there, and it'll adjust to Popeye size forearms all the way down to the weenie wimpy size forearms, like the ones that I am currently sporting. So we got that. Now, there was 2 things that Miss Zippo got me, and hopefully you didn't see that. I really like these Knipex pliers wrenches. So on my wish list, I put a set of 10-inch and a set of 12-inch on, and my little sweetheart of a woman got me the 10, and yes, you can see it's cold out here. She got me the 10-inch, and the 10-inch opens up to a whopping 2 inches or 52 millimeters, from nothing all the way to 52 millimeters to 2 inches. So small nuts and bolts, big nuts and bolts. Awesome. So thank you, Miss Zippo, very much for that. But we're not done. Okay, I really like these Braun flashlights. They are super bright. They get the job done. They have a magnetic base, and I've got two of them. One of them is out in the garage, and of course there's that one right there that I just showed you. Well, I get into those, and then what does Harbor Freight go and do? They go and Braun steps it up a notch. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they step it up a notch? Right? They stepped it up to this. And I don't know if there's any reviews on these out there yet. But let's open it up and I'll show you what we've got going on here. Alright. I need to show you. To look at it, just right there, I mean, you can see that it has the same lower body, but it has this green ring around it that is spring loaded. Why is it spring loaded? Well, because it's got attachments, and very, very simple, akin to an air chuck. Just push it on just like that, and you have either a 2 brightness level flashlight, or you have, and I won't bore you with it all, but 2 other implements or light options. One is the beam light, just like this, only it doesn't have the light on the end. Instead, it has a little eyelet on the end of it, which is no big deal. And then it has a bore light. We'll go ahead and pull the bore light out. Let's get that sucker out of there. Come on, come on. Quit arguing. Get out of there. Bore light come in real handy for getting in down and dirty and taking a look at spots that you otherwise can't see. But it's not super bright, but when you're in a small confined space, you really don't need to be. But it's bright enough, right? And again, it's rechargeable, just like the other Braun. So then we got that. Also included in it is, you know, your obligatory USB mini or micro charging cable, but it also came with this really cool hook. And here's why this hook is so cool. Whoops. I turned the light on and I didn't mean to. Okay, you can clip that in there, but the hook has a number of positive stop detents, as well as it rotates around, and more positive stop detents. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Also on it is magnets, so that you can set it parallel with your work surface instead of being perpendicular to your work surface. So I thought that was pretty awesome, and the fact that it works with the old one as well. So digging on that. All right, are we done yet? Yes, we're done with the Christmas stuff. And now I'm just going to toss this stuff back in there. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room. Took a little trip to the pawn shop, and typically I don't add very many lighters to my collection very often, but I found one I just couldn't live without. Mainly because they were banned from manufacture, and they're quite collectible. And this particular one is especially hard to find with 100% of its design intact because of the process that they used on it. But it is a camel Zippo in a urethane base, but 1993 R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, and it's never been used. The only places on it that show the chipping of the, whatever you want to call the stuff that's on it, is just right there on the hinge where it was opened. And you're probably wondering, how can you tell what the date is? Because it's all covered up. That's easy enough. The inserts are usually pretty close in date. So this is an IX with a K. So you guys can look that up and see what year that is. But got that to put in the lighter case. Now let's get to the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is a rather expensive item that I found at the pawn shop. Again, I found the Zippo at the pawn shop and offered $50, but was actually sold to me for $30. So it helps to have friends in high places. What's in here is battery powered. The battery went bad, and the pawn shop wasn't sure if it was the battery that was bad or if it was the charger that was bad. So they dropped the price dramatically. In fact, the price was $129. They dropped it down to $40. It says battery and or charger bad. Come to find out, it's just the battery, and I can order a 2-pack of batteries for roughly 70 bucks, 35 bucks a battery. So don't need a charger. Found that out once I got home, which is great news because the charger's quite expensive. So what is this thing anyway? It's an 18-volt hand planer with the spiral cut. That just means that instead of the blades being perfectly flat, they're on a slight angle. So it says here $40. I didn't even give that for it. I gave $35. Thought I did really, really good. And if you look at it, it looks brand new. It's missing the vacuum bag, but that's okay because a vacuum will fit on there. It looks brand new. It looks like it's never been used. Why is that? Because it has never been used. You can see how the blades are at an angle instead of just being straight cut. So even though it's rigid, and rigid doesn't have, the most awesome reputation, I couldn't pass that up for 35 bucks. I'm going to get some batteries, and I do woodworking, so that'll definitely come in handy. But that battery has to go back in with me so I can get the other batteries ordered. But I also wanted to apologize to a lot of you. I've not been around. And I know that stresses you guys out as much, if not more, than it stresses me, because you guys worry, is Zippo okay? Okay. Well, I'm okay. I've just been really, really, really grumpy. And being grumpy doesn't make for good videos. So, I'm sorry. It's the main reason I've not been on. And I was grumpy Sunday. I was feeling really crappy. So that's why we didn't have a Sunday live stream. And I do apologize to you guys. This one's getting long-winded. Nothing's been done out in the shop. I have been out and about doing little bits here and there. been getting calls to go help people and whatnot. Been happy to go do that when I'm able. But there we go. That's what's going on. That's why you haven't seen very much from me. I hope everybody had a wonderful New Year's celebration, and that the coming year has nothing but good ready for you. It's your friendly neighborhood Zippo. I promise you guys I will see you on the next one. Later. I am out of here.